Good morning and welcome to Beneath the Plates. I'm your host, Jared Elrod, aka the Iron Chaplain, and we are 19 minutes into our morning walk. So, feel nice and warmed up. Let's jump in. Okay, I promised you yesterday. Well, I didn't promise you. I said we're probably going to talk about mean comments and stuff online. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, let's jump in, and let me start off by saying, I completely do not understand this concept. It makes sense to me for there to be some, occasionally, but in the last several months, I'm realizing that it's the majority. It is the majority of people. And the people who don't do it are the minority. It's not the fact that most people are out there just living their best lives, and 10% of the population is miserable and out there just leaving mean comments, acting as trolls. I'm actually starting to think it's the opposite. I'm starting to think that 90% of the population is miserable and is using the internet to relieve that pressure of their miserable lives. And it's to the point, it's kind of like how, anything, drugs, porn, how anything, it becomes not enough, even medication, which I guess falls in the category of drugs. You just start to need more and more, or with porn, you need not just more, but more wild versions. You want to start acting things out in real life. With drugs, it's more and more amounts, more often. You got to switch to harder drugs. I feel like it's the same way. At some point, just the scroll is no longer getting enough dopamine. They got to get in the action, but because they're not actually creators, they're not actually even mildly healthy people, there's no ability to create. So it actually almost seems like a parallel with God and Satan, right? How God is the creator and Satan is the counterfeiter. And so what they do is their version of creating is creating the chaos, creating the negativity of mean comments. Or, they want to feel a little more creative. So now a lot of times they'll use memes to express their rude comments. And it's crazy to me how inverted the numbers are from what I originally thought, right? And so over the last several months, I've been really upping the amount I've been putting out. And what's interesting is it's not just a known thing, it's a tolerated and an expected thing. It's almost as if it's become mob mentality. And anytime I try to call someone out, I get flack like I'm the bad guy. It actually reminds me of when I was in high school. I remember our freshman year, a bunch of the kids, I was on the swim team, a bunch of kids got bullied. And no one bullied me because I was 6'3" my freshman year. I was 235 and 6'3". So no one bullied me. And then our sophomore year rolled around, and I protected kids, Our sophomore year rolls around, and all of a sudden, some of the freshmen who are now sophomores began to then pick on and haze the freshmen. I remember one time in a weight room, stepping in to stop them, kind of, thinking the whole idea of dude, you should know better. This was literally just a few months ago that you were the one getting picked on. And the mentality was basically yeah, and now it's our turn to get to pick on the new people. We got picked on, and now we get to pick on someone. And they're leave us alone. This is our right. We now get to terrorize the freshmen because we got terrorized as freshmen. And there was no concept of making the system better, making the world better. We just watched Red One last night, and it's the witch, and that was her whole thing. She's well, even The Rock's character is people are getting worse, not better. And so she's wanting to punish people, thinking that would, make the world a better place. And so this idea of it's hurt people, right? I was hurt, now I get to hurt. And it's the people who can't, what do they say? The people who can't will just criticize. I'm sure it's not the exact quote. I think it's those who can't do teach. But anyways, that doesn't fit what we're talking about. And I just don't get it. And the few times that I've actually called someone out and been hey man, what are you doing? Why would you go out of your way to post something negative on, you don't know me. You're just on the internet, you see some random person's thing, and if you don't like it, just keep going. Like, why do you need to stop and say something negative for no other reason than to make yourself feel a little bit better by making me feel a lot worse? And I've been like called names. I've been like told, oh, you're not going to make it long on the internet. Oh yeah, you're not going to last. Oh, you must be new to the internet. Bro, I've been on the internet longer than you've been alive. Like, you weren't even born when I was first like getting into forums and setting up my own forums. Like, relax, bro. Like, you're not that special. Or as my son would say, you're not him. You're just a troll. And they get like super, just like those boys in the weight room, they get like super high and mighty, like, this is the internet. We're allowed to do this. You got to leave us alone. This is our moment to shine. I get picked on at work by my boss all day. Then I go home and my wife tells me what to do, or my mom tells me what to do because I'm still living at home. And then everyone's telling me what to do. And my girlfriend left me because I don't have a real job. And now, I get to log on the internet and I get to get some revenge. I get to get some dopamine hits. I get to go and find someone who is trying to make their life better, to improve themselves, and I get to do it. I get to be the one to tear them down. And it's like, bro, how damaged are you? Like, how crazy is that? And I've had quite a few of experience just in the last 6 months even. And I don't know what bothers me more, the fact that people, like, you don't know this person at all. And again, we're talking about normal people. We're not talking about like celebrities, which I don't think is appropriate either. But we're not talking about like Kim Kardashian. Or I remember one time where towards the end of towards the beginning of the decline of Britney Spears, I remember I was in Bakersfield. I was at a house with some friends. They were actually trying to set me up with one of the daughters. And the one daughter there was basically Britney Spears was in a concert and she was like in a harness and it kind of like pushed some stomach fat together and the perfect infallible Britney Spears had a flaw and they like pounced on it. And like she was so happy. Like this girl was so happy. We did not get together. There was no interest at all. But she was like so happy. It brought her so much joy that Britney Spears had a flaw. And I get it because, you feel like they're these perfect people and you could never accomplish these goals. But again, like the idea is to be inspired. I don't know. Am I wrong? Isn't the idea is like these stories of like Hercules and like all these great characters that you could never be like? Isn't it the goal is to aspire to be better, to become more like them, not to be like, let's pull them down, right? And it seems like the internet has only helped this. So, okay, here's an example. The other day, I'm at Disneyland. And I don't know why. I had this idea. I'm in Disneyland. What if I just start doing push-ups in different places around Disneyland? This could be fun. And it's different. It's not expected, right? And I've recorded 3 separate videos. At the time of this recording, only 2 are posted. I got to finish the 3rd one. So the first one is, I basically invented in just a minute like a series called Push-Ups At. So I did, the first one was Push-Ups at Downtown Disney. Second one was Push-Ups at California Adventure. And then the third one, when it comes out, will be Push-Ups at Disneyland. And it's literally me doing push-ups in the most random places, like you would not expect. Like one of them, I'm in Cars, the line for Cars, and I'm doing push-ups. Right? It's kind of funny. And I'm doing these push-ups. And I don't know, maybe if I keep doing it and the series takes off and I'm considering like in January, maybe doing a 100-day push-up challenge and trying to get others to do it with me. Like, let's do 100 push-ups a day for 100 days. Like, that could change someone's life. Now, I haven't committed to doing this yet, mostly because, one, with the bipolar, it's really hard for me to commit to things for 100 days because I'm all over the place. And 2, I would have to check in with my personal trainer, Ben, because he already explicitly said, like, I can't do 100 push-ups a day. So, because it'd mess up the plan. So I would then have to come back to him like 3 weeks later and be like, hey, remember how we were talking and you just threw out as a random example? I was asking about like sit-ups and stuff. He's like, yeah, you can do as many sit-ups a day as you want. It's fine. He's like, it's not like, if you were like going to try to do 100 push-ups a day and how that would like. So now I have to go back like and be like, remember that random example you threw out? How about we do that? Because then he's going to have to go and change my plan for 100 days. And he's going to probably be like, are you serious? So I haven't committed to that yet, but let's just pretend I do, right? It has the potential, if I do this push-up challenge and I go out, and part of it too is like, yes, there's going to be plenty of days where it's just normal days, but I will try for the next 100 days as I'm doing the challenge to do them in the most outrageous places as possible, because one, it's fun. Two, yes, the video, it's more likely to get shared, but it's also more inspirational, right? Like there's a guy, I got the idea because there's a guy who is traveling the country and playing video games in like random locations. In fact, I was at the same event, the same Fallout event with him. I didn't even realize it, but I've been following him for about 6 months. And he was there playing Fallout at the Fallout event. Now, a guy sitting playing retro video games, probably not going to get a lot of attention. A guy traveling the world, the country, and playing video games in different locations, like one of them he set up in like the Mall of America and got like kicked out by security like immediately, right? At the Grand Canyon, he's playing while the sun is setting at the Grand Canyon. So same thing. Maybe if I do push-ups all over, and I might actually get out there, I might inspire some people. So I'm considering it. Well, some guy comes along and leaves a comment. So I'm doing these push-ups, right? Are they 100% perfect form? No. Are they 100% better than just standing in a line doing nothing physical? Yes. Are they have I come a long way from several years ago when I had to try a push-up challenge, and it was basically do as many push-ups as you could do before you quit. And I did like 5.5 and couldn't do any more. And now I'm dropping down. I probably did 150 push-ups in one day, dropping down, doing sets of 4, 5, 6, 7 at a time. Granted, it's not like that's all that challenging because I only needed so many for the challenge because I wasn't actually trying to do 100 a day. But the one day, I probably did 100, 150 push-ups throughout, recording all these videos. So yeah, and so then this guy comes along and comments 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And what he's basically saying is, because like everything, everyone's a freaking elitist, right? And the person commenting is the only person in the entire world who actually knows how to do that exercise properly. Right? Now, they would never actually prove it by recording themselves and putting them out there where others could criticize them. Sure enough, I go look at his profile picture or his profile, and there's nothing with fitness. Like it's not like he's a personal trainer, right? There's nothing related to fitness. But yet he's like going to go and criticize others. So I'm thinking like, bro, like I've lost 100 pounds. I was 360 something pounds several years ago. And I couldn't even do 6 push-ups. Now I'm doing like multiple sets, right? And I can do, for a while I was doing 100 push-ups a day, and I would do them, 4 times a day. I'd do like a set of 25. And they started off and they were not great. And I was like, you know what? Let me just start doing bad push-ups. I'd rather do 100 bad push-ups a day than no push-ups. And after a while, those 100 bad push-ups became like 100 not great push-ups. And the 100 not great push-ups became 100, okay, that's not, nice try, keep at it. And then, those became, all right, decent. And then it got to the point where I'm like, oh, okay, those are good push-ups. You got to work on your range of motion a little bit, and it just got better and better. So, was the point of the video, was I putting out a video saying, hello, personal trainer Jared here, this is the proper way to do a push-up? No. Was I doing a fun video to motivate and inspire people to, one, bring a little bit of just delight and joy in seeing some random, like there's tons of Disneyland content, and all of a sudden someone comes across their Disney adult feed, and it's a guy doing push-ups, and make them smile? Yes. Was I thinking that, I don't know, if 1,000 people watch this video, maybe one of them will be motivated, go and look at my profile and see I've lost 100 pounds, and I've made all these changes, and decide, you know what, I've been thinking about this for a few years, I'm going to do it too. He inspired me. Yeah. So then this guy comes along, 1, 1, 1, and what he's basically saying is, oh, your form, I could do better push-ups than you. Your form is not perfect. First off, bro, I'm in Disneyland. The ground is dirty. At one point, I was over a puddle of ice cream. And just to set the record straight, plenty of those push-ups were perfectly fine. So even if you were going to be such a jerk, it would be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, because plenty of them are fine. And the reason I know they were good is because I had a POV camera on, and I had to actually stop doing them as low as I was because the lens touched the ground. I'm like, uh-oh, that's going to scratch the lens. Or a few times I had my sunglasses on and they were touching the ground. And I'm like, I don't want to scratch my sunglasses. So I know I wasn't, at least some of those were perfectly fine. This guy was just trying to be a jerk. And what I don't understand is, like, if you look at the consequences of that, because everything I just said about, like, bringing a smile to people's face, maybe that 1 out of 1,000, it feels inspired. Well, what happens if they start to feel inspired? I'm overweight. I've been for years. I'm just intimidated by the gym. You know what? This guy did it. Oh, yeah, look at his old pictures. I'm not that big. I could do this. And then they see that comment, 1, 1, 1, and then they just get demotivated. No, see, that's my fear. I'm going to go to the gym, and everyone's going to be like, you don't know what you're doing. I'm going to end up hurting myself. I can't do push-ups like this guy. And this other guy is saying, these aren't even right push-ups. It's pointless. I'm not going to do it. So, like, man, I just wonder sometimes, like, when we get to the end of our life, if we could look back and see, which, oh, by the way, at least for believers, you will give an account for every idle word, and you will basically have a review of your life. How many people will we have stopped from doing something or bettering themselves because of our stupid, careless words, spoken out of insecurity or pain? That we were just bringing others down to make ourselves feel infinitesimally better. Think about that for a minute. And obviously, I can't fix the world, but maybe one of you listening will hear this. And I've been really trying to watch my words lately because I realize, I do this too. I make little comments, we say little things, and it affects those around us. I need to be careful with how I speak. I need my words, as the Bible talks about, there's power of life and death in the tongue. I need to be providing life, not death. And little things spoken. Like we have a lady who left our church relatively recently, and she's just been yapping her mouth, right? Gossiping about every little thing. Like, she'll hear like one little shred of something, and she'll go and she'll turn it into a story and go and tell everyone. And then, of course, we're in a small town, so it gets back to me, and like, it hurts. Like, it wears on you, right? And so, like, the last several months, about 6, I've been dealing with this stuff, and you could say, sticks and stones and break my bones. Words can never hurt me. Even if you're the kind of person like me where, I guess I go either way. But, like, even if you're the kind of person to be like, you know what, they're just haters. She's mad because she was part of the church and she wanted to control and we wouldn't let her. And so we didn't listen to her ideas. And so now she's trying to tear it down. Like, she's hurt. She's in a bad place. Don't take that personally. It does still get to you, right? It does still start to add up. And in those little moments of insecurity, those little moments of, like, the last worship song is ending, or they're giving the last preliminaries, I'm about to go up and speak and preach in front of the congregation. Those times when, like, just those little moments, right? Like, they begin to creep in and they begin to, like, tear down. It says, bring life or death. And that death part sometimes doesn't literally mean like someone dies because of what you're saying. It's those little things of, like, not pursuing things, not stepping out, not having the boldness, not going for the idea. Oh, yeah, I had this idea and I was going to do this thing for the sermon and it was going to be great. And, we would have ended up like all these positive benefits. But no, because the last time I did something like this, some of the criticism, and you just get to the point where you just get tired and it's like being bitten several times, right? Like, once bitten, twice shy. And you get to the point where you're like, no, I'm not going to put that out there. No, I'm not going to post that video. No, I'm not going to go to the gym today. No, I'm not going to take that test again. Go back and study the questions I got wrong and try one more time. And if we're around that, it begins to really kill, if that's the death part, it begins to kill the ambition, the desire, the dreams, the creativity, the risk-taking. So one practical takeaway from this is to shut your dang mouth. I wasn't planning on saying that, but just shut up. Like, don't post it. You know how many mean comments and emails and text messages I have not sent? No, I've sent plenty and done plenty. Typically, to the point where it's gotten easy on messages because I'm tired of having to go back and delete them. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. And if you feel that upset, write it, but don't send it. Pull out your notes app, right? Pull out your notes app. If you have an iPhone, if you have an Android, whatever it be, pull out your little notes app on your iPhone, create a document and call it poison bottle or bottle of poison or witch's brew, right? Whatever you want to call it, something nasty. And every time you have a negative thought, just go write it in there and then don't send it to the person. Eventually you'll train yourself to just stop doing it, right? But go contain it so that way it's not actually going out and poisoning people. And so shut your dang mouth. That's the first takeaway, the first application. The second one is you got to stop letting people poison you. Now I get that there's only so much of this you can control. I taught at a private school for a while and they were the most negative comment, but they were the most negative downer, tear down, they were the quintessential of that story about the crabs that will keep pulling each other down in the bucket to make sure that no one else can get out. Well, if I can't, I don't want to put in the effort to try to get out and be better. We'll pull you down. And excuse me. And I did my best to try to train them. I put up signs, no negativity, positive zone, positivity only, all the Grant Cardone stuff, right? And so I did, I was able to curb it, 15, 20%. But ultimately, there's times that I was still hearing their stuff all the time, hearing their comments, hearing them tear each other down, hearing them say just about everything, right? Anytime some YouTuber do something, it must be nice for them, right? And always tearing stuff down. And so what I had to do is I couldn't actually get away from that, short of quitting my job. I was there for 4 years. I had to start, mentally, okay, nope, these aren't true. Don't accept this. And pour it into myself. I was listening to so much Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, so many of the opposite to kind of get that opposite message in. So there's times that you can't get away, but if you can get away from it or reduce it, you're like, well, it's my mom. And we go over there every night. Well, maybe, and I'm stealing this from Gary Vee, maybe go over there less, right? Maybe you don't completely cut your mom out, but maybe you start to put some distance. Maybe you have a hard conversation and say, Mom, I love you, but I can't handle every time we come over here, it's always complaining about the president or complaining about the economy or complaining about, whatever. There's or maybe it's fights. There's always fights. So, Mom, can we just not talk about these certain topics, right? Or maybe it's Mom, I'm going to come over, but we're going to have to implement a rule. And as soon as a fight starts, we're just going to get up and leave. We're not going to get involved in the fight, even if it's not with us, even if it's with, right? We're just going to get up and leave. And we're just going to excuse ourselves. Don't be offended. We'll be back tomorrow, right? Whatever it is. Find ways to remove that. Sometimes it's actually removing certain people from your life where you're just nope, I don't need to be around this anymore. It could be a breakup. It could be a friend group. Might have to get a new friend group. It could be changing what period you go to that class because, maybe I've had that before where same class, same teacher, but just switching periods was in a completely different experience. And one was chaotic and was hard to get any work done or learn anything. And same teacher, same class, different period, all of a sudden, oh, hey, I went from the rowdy kids who are all here because they felt it the first time and they don't really care. They're just talking about, I remember one class in particular, it was all they cared about was soccer, and the class was no interest and it was very distracting. You switched to another, and it was a bunch of high achiever students where I went from being okay, could you guys just shut up so I can actually hear what he's saying and take some notes to they're pulling me up to be better. So there's your takeaways. Shut your dang mouth. Contain your poison. Remove other people's ability to put poison into you, and when you can't stop it and you're still getting poisoned, make sure you're taking an appropriate level of antidote. So that's what I got for today. Hopefully that was encouraging to someone. Let's see. I thought I had an idea for what I want to talk about tomorrow. I can't actually think of it off the top of my head. So I'll have to remember that later. I can't give you a preview. But with that, you guys have a blessed day. I love you, and I'll see you in the next episode.